Hello, hello. Welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven. I'm Lewis Broad Raven, 33-year veteran comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, role-playing game writer, artist, publisher, and reviewer. It is Wednesday. Normally we don't do an episode on Wednesday because it's comic book day and I'm usually busy reading my books before I get a chance to review them. But this week we kind of had things kind of screwed up on the schedule. Usually we have Monday manga, and last week we didn't do it, so I had to do last week's Monday manga on Monday, which meant in order to get everything on schedule, we had to do an extra 2 episodes for Monday manga. So we're here tonight to talk about the book that was supposed to go out for this week on Monday, and that is Kenichi Sonoda's Gunsmith Cats Volume 2. Oh no, she's gonna get shot. But anyway, it's an interesting book. Let's talk about it. Gunsmith Cats Omnibus Volume 2, $29.99 from Dark Horse Comics. Creator Kenichi Sonoda. Translation by Daniel Lewis and Torrin Smith. Touch-up art and lettering by Studio Cutie. Genre, manga, fantasy, science fiction. Release date U.S. of July 29th, 2025. With age rating for 18 plus due to nudity, graphic violence, sexual harassment, sexual abuse scenes, other things. This is definitely an 18 plus book, not for the kiddies or the faint of heart. What it's about. Riley Vincent runs Gunsmith Cats, a gun shop in Chicago, Illinois, with her partner, demolitions expert and former call girl, Minnie Mae Hopkins. That's Minnie Mae on the cover there. But Riley's real job doesn't pay the bills. Her hobby does. Her hobby is bounty hunting, bringing the most wanted men and women in Chicago area to justice, dressed in her sharp suit and tie, and driving her Shelby Cobra GT 500. In this episode of the book, the main story, Riley goes downtown to pick up master thief Misty Brown, who's just gotten out of the slammer. But Misty's no safer on the streets, not when it seems that she has stolen some tape recordings that could incriminate a mafia boss. And especially not when Riley stands in the way of the person trying to get the tapes back, the perverted, ruthless Goldie Musa. Misty may be the princess of cat burglars, but Goldie is the queen of the mafia, and though she can't be down, she can shoot up with kerosene. A synthetic street drug that Goldie's syringe-toting hands becomes a mind control tool of exquisite finesse. And Goldie's newest subject is Riley, whom she intends not only to get revenge upon, but recruit into serving in her own organization. And Goldie can do both if she ends Riley's old life by brainwashing her into murdering Detective Roy Coleman. What did I think? Well, this volume certainly raised the stakes in Volume 1, and there was quite a bit going on in Volume 1. There's quite a lot of adult-themed content, including, again, sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and things that make this book 18 plus, and why it needs to be sold with a cellophane shrink wrap, so your kiddies don't grab it and open up to see things that you're not ready for. It can be an extremely triggering and uncomfortable read at times. I had to put the book down and take a breather more than once. Because it does have scenes that, while they are very effective emotionally, they make you angry at what is happening in the story and make you feel for the characters and their plight. And this is both good and bad. Good in that it's executed strongly enough and you're drawn into the story. Bad in that I need to take time to be in the right headspace to continue reading. Again, this is not a story for the faint of heart. And not only puts Riley in very serious peril, but we get flashbacks of Minnie Mae's previous life as a prostitute. And there's other story elements that are just much darker than what I had expected. And Goldie Musa is a nasty piece of work as a character. I don't really feel like I've felt such animosity towards or for an antagonistic character or villain for quite some time as I did for this character. While the nudity is mostly appropriate for the context of the story, I do wish it wasn't there as much as it is. But I cannot fault the creator in any way for it because it does suit the narrative of what the story is. Maybe it's gratuitous and maybe it isn't. It depends on your own tolerance for such things. I think it skirts just within the level of tolerance, but that's why it's an 18 plus book and shrink wrap more than anything else. I can only hope that they curtail it a little bit in Omnibus Volume 3. I'm not expecting them to, but I'm hoping. I didn't care for this story as well as I did the first issue. Like I said, there's a few things going on that were just a little bit too upsetting, I guess, for me a little bit. Yes, it's a comic book. I've experienced certain things in my life that what's shown in the book, it's not exactly what's going on in this book, but it's along similar things that it kind of, I won't say it triggered me, but it did make me pause and really need to take a break for a minute. That I didn't really have in the first volume. So while I gave volume 1 a 3.5, I'm only going to give this one a 3. But that doesn't mean that the book is really a lesser book, so much as it just wasn't quite as appealing to me story-wise. And that it just made me a little bit uncomfortable in certain elements of the story. And here's some of the artwork. As you can see, it's gorgeous illustration work of this of Rally's GT Shelby Cobra. They're being tracked by people who are going to try and kill the reporter here. I'm going to show a little bit more artwork from the book directly. I want to pick the right pages. Again, this is a different era, but later on in the storyline. But again, this the way he draws cars, the way he draws interiors of the cars, even he's got it pretty well down pat. It's got good facial features. Knows how to make good expressions on the characters. Draws good backgrounds. And of course, you can see how long ago this was actually originally done, because you don't see payphones like this very often anymore. But this was made in the 90s, so you kind of have to expect that a little bit. But and then of course she's got a cell phone, but still, it's quite cool. Again, it's a solid read. I'm only giving it a 3 instead of 3.5 or 4 because, like I said, some of the storyline here is a little bit triggering for me a little bit. If you haven't ever had to deal with gang life or any of that sort of thing, I think the book you won't have that same issue I do with it. But this is just this just has certain things to it that made me uncomfortable. But that's okay. I kind of knew that's what was going to be going in. I was prepared for it. If I hadn't been prepared for it, it probably would have been a lot more unsettling. But anyway, so that is our review for tonight. And tomorrow, we have a whole bunch of stuff for you guys. I'll be joined by Chris Hall and John Norris, the review crew. And we'll be reviewing all this stuff We got Barstow. We got Cosmic Cat. We got Cowboys Moon Mesa. Number 2, Escape number 3, Event Horizon Dark Descent number 1, Green Lantern Dark number 7, closing out that series. Saturday morning version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think it's issue number 29 or 30. It should be It Killed Everyone But Me number 2, Dungeons and Dragons, The Fallbacks number 1, Mercury Mouse number 9, 10-Ton Titan Terrier. That's trade paperback from Paper Cuts, Pale Knight number 6, Yuletide number 1, Zootopia number 6. We've got other books potentially as well, including Blink and You'll Miss It number 3, I think it is, yes. Blink and You'll Miss It number 3, Robo Wolf number 2 from Dark Horse, Moonshine Bigfoot number 4 from Image, and Electric Cowboy from, I don't know who this is from exactly, but Silver Sprocket, that's who it is. Okay. So, yeah, quite a bit of stuff there for tomorrow. And then on Friday, we'll have 2 episodes on Friday. At 4 p.m., we will do our final manga of the week. That'll be our start of reviews of Kaiju number 8 with volume number 1. It'll be our special Halloween edition at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll have our Friday night, Halloween night movie talk. And we'll be discussing the classic 1972 film, Tales from the Crypt, featuring Joan Collins, Peter Cushing, Roy Beltras, Patrick McNee, and more. And that'll be at 8 o'clock. So hopefully we won't be getting bugged by trick-or-treaters. But yeah, that'll be our discussion for Friday night, tomorrow night. And with that, if you want to reach out to me on social media, you can find me on Facebook at Lewis.BrightRaven, at the Muskrat Channel, at LewisBrightRaven 2. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Lewis Bright Raven, Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. Email is quotheravenlbr72@gmail.com. If I don't get back to you through that address, try lewisbrightraven@yahoo.com. That's all for now, folks. We thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to help promote the algorithm on this channel. Until later, Quoth the Raven, nevermore.